Welcome back to Grit Gym, guys. Welcome back to Grit Gym. Today, every day we come to you at 12:30 to talk about your health, your exercise, mindset, nutrition, and recovery. Remember, recovery is the one that everybody wants to neglect. Everybody wants to neglect mindset. They want to acknowledge it. They'll be like, yeah, positive thoughts are good. It goes much deeper than that, much deeper than that. And they were going to deny recovery, but recovery is where all the magic happens. Okay, you don't get strong in the gym, you don't lose fat in the gym, you don't gain muscle in the gym. Basically, you put work in the gym, and then you reap the rewards later. Okay, what we're talking about today, we're going to go into some stuff about muscle, fat, and exercise. That's mostly what we're sticking on today. But if you can please take the time, slap that share button, send this out. Did you guys notice that we got new shirts? We got new shirts in too. They did send the wrong color, so that's a little bit of a problem, but they're super comfortable though. So these will be on the store here pretty soon for anybody to purchase. And if you support what we talk about at Grit Gym, if you support what we're doing, the message that we're putting out, please go in and buy stuff. The more dollars that we can get, the more that we can push back into this kind of stuff. The more that we can put this message out, the better the people that we can hire, and the better that we can do. And also, we are hiring right now for 2 positions. If you know someone that would make an excellent coach, send them this way, guys. Send them this way. If they have that burning desire to help people, if they want to succeed in their life by doing something that is their ethical duty. Because, like, for me, like, doing these videos, I don't really enjoy doing these videos. I don't enjoy making sales calls. I don't enjoy putting marketing materials together. But I do it because it's my ethical duty to do so. Otherwise, people aren't going to be living the way that, or maybe they will, but the message that we can put out, the effect and the influence that we can put out is that we're trying to help people inspire the experience that they want to live. And if I don't do that, then I'm going against my own ethics. Okay, so I have to push that out there. So if you support us and our authenticity and us being genuine, putting out a good message, please go in there and grab one of those shirts. But please hit the share button because obscurity is our biggest obstacle. What are we talking about today? Okay, I kind of went over it a little bit there. What are we talking about today? Yesterday we had Jen Comas on talking about a lot of things around the female side of things. So we're going to bounce back and forth we're going to shift gears from yesterday. We're going to bounce back and forth between muscle, fat loss, and how food and exercise actually play into those two. Because I think that they're more similar than most people try to make them sound. They're extremely similar. And a lot of people have a lot of trouble with this. And the first thing that I usually ask when people start complaining, making excuses, or generally just listing off their problems is like, hey, how's that serving you? How's it serving you to make that complaint? How's it serving you to make that excuse? Because a complaint has never solved anybody's problem. No complaint has ever led, I guess I could do some research on that, but I'm pretty sure I don't need to, that no complaint has ever led to a solution. I'm pretty sure that no excuse has ever helped somebody overcome what they were trying to do. It might have made them feel better for a short period of time to justify, oh, this is why I didn't get to what I wanted to have. But that's complete BS, like that's total bullshit. It does not serve you to list off your problems. It does not make you special to try to all that really does is that brings a bunch of co-conspirators trying to attempting to sabotage all of each other's success. All it does, complaining and excuses, all those do, they bring more people into your circle that are also going to complain and make excuses, and all of you will be co-conspirators in your failures. So get out of that. There is a time and place to cut people out of your life. Sometimes it's harder than others, but there is a time and place for that. And I'm not saying you got to cut them out completely and extricate them and shun them forever. I'm saying you got to create a little bit of distance, even if it's just a psychological distance, so that you can stay on the straight and narrow with your path to success, okay? Because you're trying to inspire the experience that you want to live. No problem has ever made somebody special. It doesn't make you special to have a bunch of problems. It doesn't make you special to make complaints. It doesn't make you special to make excuses. It just keeps you back where you always were, and it puts you, it's you putting you in the victim category, and you're not a victim. You can stand up and you can do more, and you can have the life that you want, but you have to have the courage to push forward and to do so. And you don't get the courage before you do something. You get the courage as a result of doing that thing that you are scared of. So push forward, push as hard as you possibly can, and good things will happen. Okay, so the big point of today, because I'm going to give it to you right now, and then I'm going to explain it all so that you can make sense of it in your head as we go through the rest of the talk. So the first thing is, the same thing that creates fat is the same thing that creates muscle. Okay? What creates fat, whatever creates more fat also creates more muscle. The only difference between whether you gain fat or you gain muscle is if you lift. Okay, so the same thing that creates more fat creates more muscle, and the only difference is whether you lift or not. So if you lift weights, you're going to get, and you eat more food, you get more muscle. If you eat more food but you don't lift weights, well, you gain more fat. That's just how it goes. People think this kind of status quo seems to think that if you lift, you'll gain muscle. No, you have to. Muscle is gained by eating. Food is what gains you muscle. Lifting doesn't cause muscle growth. Food causes muscle growth. Okay? Food also causes fat growth. Okay? People think that being lazy is what causes fat. No, food causes fat growth. You eat too much, you get fat. You eat too much, you get muscle. But one or the other had lifting involved. One had lifting involved and one didn't have lifting involved. You have to have lifting to gain more muscle. The same thing happens if you're going for fat loss. The thing that got you more muscle was also the same thing, or the thing that helped you gain more muscle. So the food caused the muscle growth, but the lifting was the catalyst, right? If you want to lose fat and you want to keep muscle, what do you got to do? Because fat loss is the exact same thing. The same thing that causes fat loss is the same thing that will cause muscle loss. It's the same way. The equation works both ways. So the only difference is whether you lift or not. If you lift, you will keep muscle. If you lift, you will drop fat. If, big if here, if you eat less food. Or if you eat better food. Both of them work. Okay. If you eat better food, typically things will get more in the favor that you want. Okay. Better food or more food. Pick between the two. Or better food or more food to get bigger. Better food or less food to get smaller. You want to lose fat, you got to eat less or better. You want to gain muscle, you got to. But either way, if you want more muscle and you want less fat, you got to lift. So this is the other thing that we're posing here, is more work does not equal more muscle. This is a very big misconception, is that if you want to be more muscular, you have to put more and more and more and more and more effort into lifting. Well, that's not altogether accurate. Yes, you have to provide the catalyst for that muscle to grow, so you need that muscle to fatigue, and you need to put some strain on that muscle so that it gets some resistance and an obstacle to grow upon, which is almost like a metaphor for life just in itself. But only more food is going to grow more muscle, just like only more food is going to grow more fat. Food is what actually makes the muscle grow. More work doesn't do it, more food does. So I hear a lot of people like, how do I get massive? How do I get big? And they're like, I'm lifting like 4 hours a day. Well, that's your first problem. Take that 4-hour workout, slam that thing down into 1 hour. Find a way to get it done in 1 hour. Do that every single day. And then increase the food that you're ingesting astronomical levels, and you will grow. There's no way that you cannot grow. Okay? And a lot of people are like, well, I'm a hard gainer. This is the excuses that we're talking about. Or I can't gain weight. That's an excuse. It's an excuse or it's a complaint, one or the other. Okay? And neither of them are serving you. It's keeping you back there where you didn't want to be. You wanted to be up there, but you went back there with the excuse that you just made. So you got to do the thing that's hard. And I realized, like, this is one of the things that I did back in the day. It was scour the internet, PDF after PDF. Back then it was like you would read a paragraph and go do something for a couple hours, come back, read another paragraph. Like that's how you looked up stuff on the internet when you had dial-up internet like we did out on the farm. So it was really hard to learn, but I remember falling into this trap because I didn't want to accept that, the only way is just to eat a ton more, even though that's what I was doing. I was already eating like 10,000 calories a day, and I was getting bigger, but I was wanting that magic bullet, and finally I I read this article that convinced me that drinking more water would help me gain more muscle. Well, it probably does to a certain extent, but that's kind of, there's no calories in water, so they're not going to actually help you grow. I didn't want to believe that I just needed to keep on eating more. I thought there would be a magic bullet. Please be a magic bullet. Please be a magic bullet. There's no magic bullet. I think that people outside of the fitness industry want to look in at us and say, and they think that we're keeping something a secret from them. Like all these marketing articles that are like 6 secrets to fat loss. And you go and you read the article right away, hoping that there's a miracle there, but there's no miracle there. And there's no miracle behind door number 1, door number 2, door number 3, or however many doors you go down. There's no miracle there. It's all pretty simple stuff. When it comes to the nutrition game, you pretty much already know it. You eat more food and and you grow. Whether that's fat or muscle depends on if you lift. If you want to lose fat, you gotta eat less food, and if you want to keep muscle, you got to keep on lifting throughout that time frame. More work does not equal more muscle. More food equals more muscle. And if you want muscle, then you got to do more food plus lifting. If you want more fat, you do more food minus lifting. Does that make sense? Those are your equations. They're super simple equations. It's me dumbing this down to just like just easy stuff. The hardest thing for anybody watching this is going to be getting your mind to believe it, because it really is this simple. You look at these fitness professionals, and it's gone more and more towards this. Like people are building professions around how they look, and it's pretty amazing. However, I think we look at these people and we're like, and we think, oh my God, like I want to do that, I have to do that, but you don't realize the amount of work and the amount of attention and the amount of focus and the amount of time that they put into that. They might have been building that, they've probably been building that body and dreaming about that body and harnessing the ability to create that body for years and years and years and years. And they're put more work into one day of training and food and recovery than most of us put into months and months and months of the same thing. So that's the kind of mindset that you're going to have to get into if you want to become like those people. If you look back at, is this kind of interesting stuff. There's Mark Bell goes into it in his documentary, Bigger, Faster, Stronger, but it's interesting. The kind of evolution of kind of body expectations is really interesting. Like, girls have had the implication for a long time. They had Barbie dolls, right? Barbie dolls had this unrealistic waistline with these unrealistic boobs, with these unrealistic proportions and heads, and hopefully little girls never thought, oh, I must look like this to be beautiful. But guys had G.I. Joes and all these action figurines that have come out, and if you look at the evolution of their bodies, originally they barely had abs, and then they had, maybe like a 4-pack and maybe some like decent sized biceps, and then they became all veiny, and then they became like these massive, like super weight. Like, there's no way that people could actually look like that today. And it's really interesting to see that, and the implications of that in our minds, I think, has something to do with it, why we would even want to become that thing. But so there's some stuff tripping people up here, and I think that they're looking for a magic bullet to be able to become that action figure, that the hero in the movie, have the body that all the girls want. It's the work. It's the work involved to get there. And I'm talking not just the work involved with exercise. I'm talking about the work involved with nutrition. I'm talking about the work involved with recovery. And I know that most people don't think of recovery like work, but how many hours of sleep did you get last night? Did you get a nap in today? Did you meditate today? Did you de-stress on some level today? Did you get away from, like, how much attention are you putting towards your recovery? Because that matters. So, I mean, you could probably put that in. When I was mentioning work before, I was talking about exercise exclusively. More exercise does not equal more muscle. More exercise eventually actually impedes muscle growth. And a lot of this is kind of like, it's all for, what do I call it? It's all 4 of the wheels put together. It's the mindset, it's the recovery, it's the nutrition, and it's the exercise. But so many people, it's easy to, I think they look at the exercise as if it's the hardest one. The exercise is by far the easiest one. I guarantee you that exercise will be the easiest. Well, the simplest one is definitely nutrition. The easiest one is definitely exercise. And the amount of work that you have to put into the easiest one is astronomical. So to be able to become those crazy level, like crazy bodybuilder type or fitness model types. So think about that for a little bit. There's a ton of work going into that exercise component, and it's the easiest one. It's by far the easiest one. The mindset category is the most complicated, the hardest, the most takes the most discipline, is the sneakiest, is definitely the hardest of the hardest of the hardest. The recovery one takes a ton of discipline. The recovery and the nutrition, I would say, in my opinion, are probably the more simple ones, but also the ones that take a lot of discipline upon yourself. You can hire an exercise coach. You cannot hire someone to not put food in your mouth. You cannot hire someone to put food in your mouth. You cannot hire someone to, you could probably hire someone to walk around with you all day long, but you could be sneaking stuff in right and left. You could be ordering pizza late at night. It would be very difficult to do. But the big thing that we want to get across here, more work does not equal more muscle. Only more food equals more muscle. Less food equals less fat, or less food equals less muscle. You have to lift. The difference maker with all of this stuff is lifting. And I don't know, maybe I'm making this more complicated than it has to be, but when we want to create a more muscular body, we immediately think of lifting, but we need to think of the other categories involved. So if we want more muscle, we've got to go into the recovery phase and then think of that in combination with recovery or with nutrition, right? So we have to eat more food. So what are some ways that we can do this without gaining a ton of fat? Okay, so more food. This is one of those things that the people are like, oh man, this is going to be great. I would love to eat more food. I just want to eat all the time. Okay, a few things that you don't take into consideration. In order to gain muscle, especially for a hard gainer, and let's just take lifting out of the equation. Let's say you're working very hard in the gym and you cram that 4-hour time frame down into 1 hour. Now, so you're doing well in the exercise game. You've hired a coach. The coach is pushing you. You're pushing you. Now you got to look at nutrition. You've been fighting to try to gain muscle this entire time. Now, what do you have to do? Well, at some point, we've got to start looking at things different than just enjoying food. See, this is where it gets kind of nasty. We've got to get to a point where we're eating so much food that it becomes like a job, that it's disgusting, it's a job, it's a chore, it's a not fun thing to do. You're eating your third pizza and you're like, I'm going to be sick. And then you just go ahead and eat more. When I started doing this, I was 6'2", 145 pounds, and 3 months later I was 6'2", 185 pounds, and that's how I did it. Every meal, I'd eat until I was literally going to puke. And then I would start filling glasses of milk, and I would drink those until I almost did puke. And then I'd sit there for a while. And then I would go weigh myself in every meal. If I didn't gain at least 5 pounds every meal from the food, if I didn't ingest at least 5 pounds of food, I would have to go eat more. And most of the time, I cleared that pretty easy. 5 pounds of food isn't really all that much. Now, you do this for breakfast, and then you do this for lunch, and then you do this for dinner, and then you eat whatever you can in between. Whatever you walk past something, you have to eat it. Now, at some point in there, you have to lift, right? So now you're trying to push yourself to fatigue out those calories, to fatigue out those muscles so that they'll accept the food that you are giving them. This is how you grow. That's how you grow muscle. It sounds disgusting, right? It's because it is. Okay? Now, if you want to do fat loss, you got to do the same thing in reverse. You got to reverse engineer what I just said. Okay, so let's say that we're lifting 2 to 3 days a week, and we're doing some type of cardio, especially alactic glycolytic training, where we're getting our heart rate to come up and then back down, our heart rate to come up and back down, like the metabolic workouts like your gym, where those are on point. Okay, let's say that's exercise category is on point. All right, so now we got to look at nutrition, right? So what do we have to do? This is the one that gets really messed up because everybody's trying to sell you that you don't have to feel hungry to lose fat, and that's bullshit. You're going to have to feel a little hungry. It totally sucks. But you have to drop your nutritional intake. We have to have less calories coming in or better calories. Okay, because if like a pound of broccoli and a pound of, or let's say 2,000 calories of broccoli and 2,000 calories of like a Snickers bar, let's say, and you ingest both, and one day you ingest this one and one day you ingest this one, how many calories of each are you going to absorb? You're going to absorb a lot more of the processed candy, sugar type stuff like McDonald's or whatever foods that you consider not good for you, like Hot Pockets, Pop-Tarts. If you have 1,000 calories of that, it's not as good as the 1,000 calories of broccoli, right? The broccoli is going to fill you up more. The broccoli is probably not going to be as enjoyable, but you're going to feel a lot better. You're going to have a lot more fiber. You're going to have a lot more nutrients coming into you. Your stomach is 1,000 calories of broccoli, you're going to be full. Now, it was the same 1,000 calories. Your body should respond the same way, right? Well, it doesn't. It responds really poorly to this and it responds really well to this. Do you get what I'm saying? Same thing with meat. If you have grass-fed beef instead of 1,000 calories of grass-fed beef versus 1,000 calories of McDonald's, which one is going to make you feel better? This one's going to make you feel better. The McDonald's is going to make you feel better for about 15 minutes, maybe 5 minutes, and then you're going to feel like crap. The grass-fed beef is going to satiate you for a long period of time, and you're going to feel a lot better. You're going to get more out of it. That's what I'm talking about by better food. Okay? By better food, your body's going to absorb less of the calories, and it's going to deal with those calories better, and you're going to have a better overall effect. You're going to have less stress on your system. It's going to be taxed less, and you're going to be better off for it. So you get to choose. Now, if you're going to eat crappy food, you can go that route. It'll work. I don't understand why people do this, but they test this out. There was a guy that ate nothing but McDonald's for a year, and he lost a bunch of weight because he only ate off of the dollar menu every time, I think is what it was. So he only ate one hamburger, or he only ate one, I don't know, whatever their breakfast thing is, and they only ate whatever, something off the dollar menu. That's how he did it. He kept his caloric intake really low. There's plenty of things that you could argue that are wrong with that are probably not as good, but it worked for him. It's the same thing with the Reese's Peanut Butter Cup diet, where people will go for a month only eating Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. You can stay alive on that. There's a small amount of protein, there's quite a bit of fat, and there's a lot of sugar in there. You don't need that sugar, but because your body can make its own, but you will lose a lot of weight. Why? Because you didn't have as many calories there. Which one do you suppose feels better? If you're eating better food or you're eating crappy, not kind of processed stuff? Focus on the better food and things are going to go better. Now, the same mindset of this has become a chore to gain muscle. It's become a chore to eat more food. It's become a chore to try to eat this much. I am tired of eating. Think of that mindset for a second. To gain muscle, you have to apply that to fat loss. I know I just said that a little bit ago, but it's worth repeating. Apply that to fat loss, and what's it say? Yeah, but you will feel pretty crappy. Yeah, you feel like shit. If you did I think Rachel is talking about the peanut butter cup diet. If you only ate peanut butter cups for a month, I'm pretty sure you feel like crap. Now, what was I saying? Oh, apply that mindset. Apply that mindset to what it took to gain all that muscle. Took tons and tons and tons and tons of food till you were just so sick of food that you didn't want to see any food, that you were and you went ahead and you put it in your mouth anyway to try to gain that muscle, because food is what actually makes you grow muscle, not food. Not lifting. Lifting is a catalyst, but it's not what actually makes you grow. So what happens with fat loss? If you want fat loss, you have to abstain. You have to feel hungry, and you have to just deal with it. It's really annoying. It's super hard. It's just as hard as trying to gain all that muscle. I've done both ways. I've gone down. I've gone up. Right? You have to abstain. You just have to feel hungry. You have to eat so much better that it's insane if you want that body type. If you want that body type if you're shooting for fat loss, it's going to be the same thing. It's going to feel like a chore. It's not going to be fun. You're going to have to get over it. There's no secret to this whole thing. You can search on MSN. You can search through all the, or MSN, is that even still a thing? I don't know. Google. You can search through Google for articles on this stuff, and you're going to come back to the same thing. I've been studying this stuff for 20 years. Believe me, there is no secret to this deal. You eat less or you eat better. That's it. And then to keep muscle, you keep lifting. To gain muscle, you keep lifting. Okay, it's very simple. You lift, and if you want to lose fat, you drop food. If you want to gain muscle, you go up in food. If you don't lift and you eat more food, you're going to get fat. And if you don't lift and you eat less food, you're going to lose your muscle, but you're going to keep your fat. Your body is an extremely efficient machine, and nature doesn't really care what you want to look like. Nature is just trying to survive. So something to think about. But and I realized that a lot of the stuff that I could have said today could sound kind of judgmental. I am here to provide information on and give you a clear outlook on what can help you inspire the experience that you want to live. It's not about me inspiring your experience, it's about you inspiring your own experience. I have no judgment whether if you want to be 500 pounds or you want to be 120 pounds or you want to be 180 pounds, whatever it is that you want to do with your body, that's your business. If you want to get down to 5% body fat and we determine that that's a healthy thing for you to do, then I will support you in that. If you want to get up to 20% body fat and you want to, because it will help you with your lifts because you're a power lifter, I'm in support of that. I am in support of how you're going to live your life. If you can convince me that that's how you want to live your life. But so it's not, I don't mean to sound judgmental at all. And when it comes to being hungry, a lot of people will point the eating disorder thing at me. The eating disorders thing, for one, is extremely rare. It's also a disorder that is easily and contemplatively a disease. It's something that is very serious and a totally different deal than feeling hungry. Feeling hungry is a natural thing that happens in your body. We all should feel hungry on some level at some points in our lives. It's good for us. Eating disorders are a very serious thing. They're much like an addiction, and in many ways they are an addiction, arguably an addiction. The hard thing with this kind of addiction, though, is that you can't remove the medium that they're using to create the problem. So an alcoholic has a problem with, and they use alcohol to front that problem, to as the medium by which they're trying to cover up their fear, right? Well, anorexics do the same thing, bulimics do the same thing, eating disorders do the same thing, but you cannot remove, you're trying to add to, so it becomes a very difficult thing. It's very serious, and that's a totally another topic. So so when I say hunger, I'm not talking about eating disorders. Please don't jump on my case. But if you want to gain muscle, you got to eat more food, and you have to lift. If you want to gain more fat, don't lift, eat more. If you want to lose fat, you have to lift and eat less. If you want to lose muscle, don't lift and eat less. Okay, so that's kind of the general equation that makes it very simple, and I hope you guys got something out of this. Please take the time to hit the share button. Obscurity is our biggest issue, so the more people that see these messages, the better. And if you guys want a t-shirt, they will be online for sale very soon. So thanks, guys. We'll be back tomorrow. I think we have one more interview this Thursday with Kelly Hart, I believe it is. I got to look it up, but really excited to have her on. And anyway, do the best you can on inspiring the experience that you want to live. It's not up to me. It's up to you. Thanks, guys. Really appreciate you being here. And I'll see you soon.